This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. Poupart, how you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Yep, no complaints.
All right. Well, I think you were in the batter's box there waiting. And by the way, thank you for bringing the Expos hat back because that's what you're supposed to do. All right. Your thoughts on to me, bro, you heard me. It was all Tua yesterday. To me, that's all I blame it on. Everything was perfect. McDaniels called every play right. Receivers were wide open for some reason or another. And I'm not blaming the ankle either. He had a shit day, bro. That's it.
No, he was completely off, but I'm one who was going to be quick to tell you when he lights it up, it's a team. It's not just him. And when they lose, it's not just him. Absolutely no question. He was off, and there were a couple of things. And I'm going to take issue here with one key play the Dolphins had in the first half. That was, I don't know what the hell that was about. It was a 3rd and 1 where Tua was sacked. And on the play, it's basically Alec and Gold goes out into the pattern.
Oh my God, yeah, that was.
And then they have Jeff Wilson. And if you recall their yardage, it was 3rd and 1, and that's being polite. It was like, it was less than half yard. That's a quarterback sneak, handoff to Alec and Gold. While you're having Tua do a straight drop back on that play with your 2 running backs responsible for blocking Bosa. That one, I didn't get that one. And then there were other things. There was a bad sequence by Robert Hunt where he got the hold, which was kind of ticky-tack. I've seen a lot worse holds not go uncalled. And then on the next play, he allows pressure. Tua throws. Jeff Wilson's running down the field, not looking anywhere. To make it worse, he stumbles, allows Jimmy Ward, the DB, to jump over him to make the easy pick.
Yeah, because he's supposed to turn around there, and that's a spot he's supposed to be at. Instead, he's tripping into the defenders, and the defenders are moving into the spot where the ball is going to be at. And so I don't blame Tua for that one. I think that's the miscommunication one that he was talking about before, by the way. But
there's another one too, if you recall. I think it may have been the first pass after the touchdown to start the game, where he's rolling to his left and he throws to Tyreek. And he throws it 5 yards to the left, and Tyreek, and like on the ground, and Tyreek's 3 yards up the field. Like they weren't on the same page. I hadn't seen that like the whole year. Everything with the timing was just like so perfect for 4 weeks, and everything was just off yesterday. Timing, Tua's accuracy was off. I've heard some fans like blame the defense, fire Josh Boyer with the crazy reaction. It wasn't a great effort by the defense. It wasn't terrible.
By the way, can we just give the Purdy kid a little love? Because, it's like, okay, so our 7th rounder, he can be the golden child, and maybe he can be better than Tua, right? But their 7th rounder, oh my God, we're insulted that he played well. Dude, he was drafted. He's in the NFL. The guy threw for like 12,000 yards in college. He actually the moment never looked big for him. I was really impressed how composed he was. Give the young man some credit. Maybe he lasted a 7th rounder because others, overlooked it, or maybe he just had his, Flynn moment, like Matt Flynn a few years back, whatever it was, 15, 20 years ago, when Matt Flynn played a couple of games and everybody freaked out and stuff like that. Just give the kid Purdy some credit. He played well, man. There were times that they pressured him, and he took it like a man and completed some passes. Sometimes you just got to, tip your hat to the other guy and not make it sound like it's a complete insult that he actually played well. He's a
not only that, it's not like he lit up the Dolphins secondary either. He had one play that was a key play in the game that was a big-time play for any quarterback. I don't care if it's a rookie or what. If you recall, late in the first half, 3rd and 10, Jalen Phillips right in his face immediately, and he threw a dart to Kittle right down the middle for a first down. That kept alive their drive. That gave him the lead right before halftime, and that was a key momentum swing in this game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just it's funny. Like, late rounders now. Well, how about Tom Brady? Right? It's like, so you could use the Tom Brady thing as a late, pick to like say, no, you can pick somebody late, but you can't use him when he has success against your defense. It's weird, right? It's just like you can't use it for, it's like it's a convenient argument.
No, but he was asked to manage the game and make an occasional play here and there, and that's what he did. And yes, you absolutely. But those people were going like, we lost to Mr. Irrelevant, fire all the defensive coaches. I mean, come on. But then again, overreaction Monday, right?
Well, as I say, so maybe a third string quarterback was making plays against third string corners at times. I mean, it's not like first string corners are out there all the time, by the way. It's not like first string safeties are out there all the time, by the way. Eric Rowe is playing safety because they have no freaking choice to play him. He's a specialist that they used to use just for tight ends. He's never really excelled at covering receivers and running backs. He's always been incredibly inconsistent when it comes to those players. He found his niche here by covering tight ends, and now they're using him more than they really need to. But it's
because of injury. The play that bothered me with Eric Rowe, and I'm going to go back to my earlier point. I mean, how many big time throws did Purdy make? I mean, so let's calm down with that. My big problem with Eric Rowe yesterday, if you recall, the 4th and 1 on the quarterback sneak. I mean, Zach Sealer has that thing stuffed, and Eric Rowe did not come up to fill that gap where he allowed the quarterback to spin and get the first down.
To defend Sealer, he was off balance. His base.
I'm blaming Rowe on that. I'm not blaming Sealer.
And you're right to blame Rowe, but I can't know because some people are picking on Sealer. Like, oh, how come you can't stop the? Go look at the damn play, dude.
Because he's got 3 guys blocking him while he's trying to wrap up the QB. I mean,
right,
seriously.
and his body's twisted. He doesn't have the leverage he needs. If he had his feet, he would have slammed the quarterback down, bro. Right. He wouldn't have lost that. He made a hell of a play, but unfortunately, in the angle he was at, he had no leverage, and he needed help, and nobody came to help out on that play. You're 1,000% right. And by the way, was it Eric? Yes, it was Eric Rowe that lost somebody on a crosser also. On a man-on-man play.
When are you talking about?
There was, I want to say it was in the second quarter, and there was a crosser that somebody caught on the other side. I forgot who it was, and he was supposed to follow the guy because it was a man-on-man. It was in zone at that moment. And when he because he didn't follow him, he reacted late. The guy caught the ball, and it was a big gainer. It was whatever 15 yards or whatever. But there was Eric. What can I tell you?
And he wasn't the only one.
I can't blame Josh Boyer for this, dude. I can't blame Josh Boyer when Riley trips and the guy gets back downfield. I can't blame Josh Boyer if X gets burned on a crossing route because he's got 2 growing injuries, and that lateral movement must be brutal for his ass. You know what I mean? But am I going to blame Josh Boyer that X isn't himself? I can't do that, dude. Sometimes people, they get a little crazy about this, and they don't really understand what the hell is going on. And sometimes players need to make the plays. They're there. There were many times yesterday that Purdy, completed a pass to somebody, and the Dolphin defender was right there. It was just the player made the play and then got a couple more yards, whether it was Deebo Samuel or whatever, and you did not make the play. It wasn't that it was a bad call, just like on the offensive side. McDaniel designed them perfectly. The receivers were open. Tua missed them, dude. What are you going to do? But I can't blame McDaniel on that at all.
No, here's the thing, though. The X groin is no longer an issue. And the play you're talking about on the crosser, the guy just got in the inside position on him and beat him on a cross. It's going to happen. He's going to get beat.
Dude, that's on the playbook. Everybody's doing it on him.
Well, correct. No, the one thing, if I'm going to have a gripe about strategy, is I'm not exactly sure why you're putting Duke Riley on Christian McCaffrey, because that looked like a mismatch. So it wasn't just that one play. There was
Who are you going to put?
I don't know. That's a good question, but
there's nobody.
Riley was not the answer.
Nobody. Come on, dude. There's nobody that's going to stay with that guy. It's not a Duke Riley thing. It's Christian McCaffrey, man. I can't. You can't use that either, because then if in the unlikely, it's not good enough.
You what?
They're just not good enough at that position to stay with McCaffrey, my brother. They don't have a line.
But then you have to come up with a different
the guy that's supposed to be with McCaffrey is too young.
Yeah, that's not even a conversation. I mean,
I know that's what I'm
there's
saying.
a reason he plays only special teams.
Right. That he's too green at this point, probably, to read and react or whatever it is. He must be failing in that classroom left and right because he doesn't play. But he's the one that has the athletic ability to possibly stay with a kid like that. Possibly. I mean, we are talking about Christian McCaffrey. I mean, so I just don't, outside of what, Jerome Baker maybe, who's got really great athleticism and speed, there just aren't a lot of guys that could stay with Christian McCaffrey.
That's fair. And that's big picture. This was not a crippling loss. As I wrote last night, there's still the website 538. It has them 87% chance of making the playoffs. The AFC, they control their fate. I don't use this. They control their fate to win the AFC's title if they win out. The game at Buffalo is the huge one. If they were going to lose at some point, this was the game to lose because it's an NFC game. So.
By the way, I feel better about the Chargers game this week. Vegas has Miami favored by 2.5 points, by the way. Okay. And I said last night, Tua hits those guys. This is a completely different game. They probably win this game if everything. This tells me that if you go to Los Angeles and play the game the way it's supposed to be played, you'll be fine. You can win this game. I everything was there to be made. The plays were there to be made. McDaniel found the holes in the defense. The receivers found the spots. I actually feel better about this Chargers game this week. And slash, here's the real pressure finally on Tua. He's got to redeem himself this week. He has no choice. He has to redeem himself, and they got to win this week going to Buffalo. They have to.
No, and the Chargers are a massively flawed 6-6 team.
Yes.
They can't stop the run. They can't run the ball. They can't protect their quarterback. Their pass rush is very shaky. How they're 6-6 is beyond me. I mean, it's an incredibly winnable game, and the fact that they're favored on the road tells you all you need to know.
Right. Yeah. In fact, Vegas probably saw a lot of the same things we did. Like, yeah, Miami gave that game away yesterday. If they're sharp in their passing game, we got a completely different game. Yep. You look at that score, 33-17, you think, oh, they kicked their ass. No, dude, they didn't kick their ass. Even Tua playing like shit, it was a 23-17 game, dude.
With a chance to take the lead. It's the same thing like that Jets game where the final score was 40-17. That wasn't a 40-17 game. And yesterday, that wasn't a 33-17 game. I mean, seriously.
Right. Exactly. Injury-wise, what do we know? Just the two guys right now?
We know that Tua's got to stop getting his lower legs bent because at some point that's going to be a major problem because it happened twice. And now, like the reports this morning from NFL Network is that it's fine and he's going to play and all that. But there were two plays, and we remember the Houston game where he got bent backward before halftime. It happened not once but twice yesterday with Bosa. Once on the roughing the passer penalty, and then once on the strip sack, where he also got bent backwards again. I mean, it's like, and then two after the game, if you saw his press conferences, like. They were asking him how he felt, and he didn't give the normal, I'll be bruised up tomorrow. And he kind of danced a little bit around the question. So it's like they need.
That's not fun.
No.
Look at Jimmy Garoppolo on the other side. I mean, he's worse than Tua. He constantly is knocked out for seasons. He has even worse luck than Tua in this league. It's a crazy thing, dude, to stay. That's why it's so important for him to throw away the ball, because just playing the position is brutal. You don't need to hold it for 4 or 5 seconds and have some 300-pounder, just pick up some speed and load up on your ass.
But there was a situation yesterday where he hung on to the ball too long. It's just like the way he was tackled. And no, did you see this nugget that I tweeted that Jimmy Garoppolo has made 3 starts against the Dolphins. He's left the game with an injury all 3 times.
Right. Well, listen, he gets injured a lot.
No, he does. But it's like it was a freak thing. It was a freak thing yesterday.
Yeah, dude, that guy came in for Brady and couldn't stay healthy. Do you remember that? that they had to play Brissett.
Against the Dolphins.
They had to play Jabroni
against the Dolphins.
Yeah, they had to play Jabroni because he couldn't even stay healthy in the 4-game stretch that Brady was. That the Spygate, the Deflategate suspension. That's what it was, right? It wasn't an injury. It was a 4-game suspension.
And then it wouldn't have been his first start because it was the second game of the season. But I remember he started against the Dolphins and knocked out of the game, and Brissett came in.
Right, exactly. And they went 3-1 in that stretch with Brissett and Garoppolo with Brady out during the suspension. Because I remember the Dolphin Nation was like pissed, like, damn it, dude. They had the backup quarterbacks and they still went 3-1 and Brady's back and they're just, and they're off and running and that kind of stuff. But I remember, that's been Garoppolo's history from the get-go. But I mention it because some people, oh, well, Tua's always injured. Yeah, he misses a couple games every year. You're right. I can't argue that. But if you really look around, there's a lot more players that maybe miss even more time than Tua. You know what I mean? So, because Garoppolo was one of those guys that you heard Dolphins. There were people in Dolphin Nation that told you they should go trade for Garoppolo over Tua, right?
Well, and that's part of the reason why the 49ers were ready to move on from him is they feel they can't depend on him for the long run. So I think that was partly that and partly, well, he's good. We win with him, but is he Super Bowl champion good?
And there was a story floating from Ian Rappaport before the game that they would be open to bringing him back. Well, we'll see how Brock Purdy plays from here on out, and I'll tell you if they're willing to bring him back.
That's a very good point.
It's a lot cheaper to keep Brock Purdy if he does play well, and then you can try and see if you can figure out Trey Lance and fix it all. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out, my friend, at alldolphins.com?
Well, as I mentioned last night, I looked at the playoff outlook, which again is still very, very encouraging. It would be
not worried.
No, I'm not worried about them making the playoffs. And if we're looking again at making the playoffs, if you look at, I know a lot of fans were pissed off that New England didn't beat Buffalo on Thursday night. For making the playoffs' sake, that was good for the Dolphins because it creates some space with them. Did the snap count observations completely? I knew Mike Gesicki didn't play a lot, but looking at him getting 9 snaps, it's like,
I know.
Why in the hell did you pay him the franchise tag of $10.8 million?
Well, they had the money. They didn't care.
They could have used it on somebody another position. Come on, they could have used it on another position.
Why not try it? And if it doesn't work, eventually we'll get compensatory value for him when he does leave and signs with somebody else. He's going to excel in the right offense. No, I
agree, but it's clearly not this one. And I think Mike McDaniel's smart enough that I'm gonna guess he pretty much knew all along that this is really not a good fit. So I'm not exactly quite sure what the thinking was on there. Anyway, you were asking me about what I got going on. Let me see. Mike McDaniel is speaking via Zoom later today, so obviously we're going to attack that and everything else. A couple of more things related to the game yesterday before we close the book and start looking forward to the Chargers.
Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Catch him twice a week here with the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Alan, as always, thank you, my friend. Keep rocking. And don't forget, folks, to follow Alan on Sports Illustrated at alldolphins.com. That officially makes you a Dolphin when you bookmark alldolphins.com. Poop, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
I'll talk to you on Thursday.
You got it. There you go. Alan Poupart, baby. And our EJDconstruction.com Fins Up report.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.